Coming up on Mountain News this morning, last year Kentucky lawmakers passed an overhaul to school safety, and this year they're wanting to make some revisions to it. Meanwhile, we take you to Laurel County, where a mother and son found a meth lab in a ditch, the first of its kind seen in the county in 2 years. And a former University of Kentucky student accused of causing a crash that killed a 4-year-old boy appeared in court yesterday.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:32 on Friday, January the 24th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Madison has Friday off, but Brandon's here, so do not worry. You still have half of, or 2/4 of the trio, rather. 2/3 of the trio. There we go.
We got you.
Math. I'm a journalist for a reason. Look,
That's right.
I'll leave the math to you weather people.
Words are hard.
Yes. Brandon, what should we expect today when it comes to outdoor activities?
Well, you see that green back there? That's basically going to be around all day long. So if you're going to be outside today, make sure that you're taking it slow on the roads. Got your rain gear handy, because this rain is going to plague us for most of the day. Let's take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar, and you see some heavier bands have moved out for a little bit there, starting to die off a little bit, but there's more coming in from the south. As we take a look at downtown Pikeville this morning, Pikeville Medical Center camera looks like everything's moving pretty well over there, but the roads are wet. So again, please be careful and give yourself plenty of time. Here's a nice change of pace though, when we talk about temperatures. 40s this morning. Yeah, 40s. That's usually our daytime highs this time of year, so we'll take it there. 41 Somerset, 45 Jackson Hazard, Prestonsburg, 46 in London, and 48 in Pikeville this morning. 52 this afternoon. A soggy day with a near 100% chance for rain. The extended forecast is on the way here in just a little bit. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, deputies in Bell County say they arrested multiple people on burglary charges. They say the men stole from the same family who lost 4 loved ones earlier this month. You may remember Beulah Mullins and her 3 grandchildren died in an early morning fire on the 7th of January. Deputies say less than 24 hours later, these 2 men, Dylan and Ralph Nichols, broke into a camper belonging to the grandmother. The 2 tried to pawn off stolen guns at a nearby pawn shop. They were found on the same property on Wednesday and were arrested. Now, officials say the 2 had nothing to do with the fire itself. They were taken to the Bell County Detention Center. An investigation into drug activity landed a 50-year-old Harlan County man behind bars. Appalachian narcotics investigators say Bethel Stewart Jr. was selling cocaine and heroin. He faces drug trafficking charges. Police tell us more charges could be added. A mother and son walking in Laurel County found a meth lab in a ditch. Deputies tell us back in 2011, they dismantled more than 400 of the same HCl generator meth labs. However, this is the first one they have seen in 2 years in Laurel County. Police believe whoever was using the lab may have thrown it out of a car window after being spooked for some reason. They're just thankful no one was hurt.
Because these things are dangerous, they can actually explode. And it also still had a lot of the drug in it, meth, so it made it deadly for 2 reasons.
Police say if you see something like this, do not touch it and immediately call 911. Yesterday marked 2 years since a school shooting in western Kentucky. Bailey Hold and Preston Cope died in that shooting at Marshall County High School. Students in the school are honoring teenagers who died with a blood drive, and a comfort dog was brought into the school. The teenager charged in the shooting is still awaiting trial. Well, in response to the Marshall County shooting, lawmakers passed a bill last year to improve school safety. During the session, they are hoping to improve that bill. A bill will now head to the Senate floor that would require every school resource officer to carry a firearm. It passed out of a Senate committee yesterday with every member voting yes. The bill's sponsor says the bill is designed to keep students safe.
We're not arming teachers, we're not going down that path, but if we're putting sworn law enforcement officers, they will have a gun. And I think that the expectation of parents is that that officer will be equipped with a firearm.
The bill would also set up mental health services like suicide prevention and anti-bullying. Churches across the nation are discussing the idea of allowing guns in the sanctuaries. The talk intensified after a recent shooting inside of a Texas church. The Floyd County Sheriff's Office is hosting new classes to help keep churches safe. WYMT's Buddy Forbes saw the crisis simulation training in action.
With recent events across the nation, church members say they just want to be prepared.
it could hit close to home as well as it could far away. So that's the reason we always want to be ready and protect the church.
That is why the Floyd County Sheriff's Office is organizing training sessions for church members to experience virtual active shooter scenarios and take part in crisis preparations.
It lets them see a little bit of the chaos that can ensue and it lets them know that they have to have a couple of people that's going to stay focused. They have to have a couple of people that's willing to take care of a threat.
Michael Campbell says he was interested in the training because he just wants to take care of his congregation.
This training is going to benefit our safety team or security team by really running some scenarios that you can't really do without some kind of training like this.
With the Milo Crisis Rehearsal Simulator the department uses for its training, deputies say church members will be able to work through several scenes, including a few that show churches under attack.
The sheriff feels like it's important for the churches in the area to be prepared for this because unfortunately in the world that we live in, it's happening.
And they say training the churches is not about keeping people out.
Not trying to keep people out of church. They want to invite anyone that wants to come into their church. They understand, though, that they need to keep their churches safe. They need to keep the congregation safe. They need to keep the children safe that come to church.
It is about taking care of the people who are inside. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, deputies say the training is not a formal one, but will give church members an idea of what to expect. Classes will continue for the next few weeks. Interested churches are encouraged to reach out to the Sheriff's Department. Well, in Prestonsburg, one person went to the hospital yesterday following an accidental shooting. This is a look at the scene. The police said a contracted employee of Big Lots was injured, though they could not release the extent of the injuries. They did tell us the extent. They did not tell us the extent of the person's injuries or exactly how the gun fired. Well, yesterday wrapped up the first day of a Perry County murder trial taking place in Knott County. James Ronnie McIntosh is accused of killing Danny Mullins last year. McIntosh's lawyer says it was in self-defense. McIntosh was visibly shaken up in court. During yesterday's trial, there were several witnesses, from Kentucky State Police forensic scientists to detectives who worked the scene on Forsyth Branch Road. We also heard the roughly 30-minute interview with McIntosh the day of his arrest. The state medical official says Mullins had been shot 8 times, 3 of those being in the head.
So if he was standing in what we call the standard anatomical position, which is, I'll show you, it's standing up with your arms out like this, and the bullet was going like this.
They also called a man to the stand who lives on Forsyth Branch and heard shots ring out around the time of the shooting. The trial wrapped up just before 6 and will continue today at about lunchtime. A former University of Kentucky student accused of causing a crash that killed 4-year-old boy appeared in court yesterday. Jacob Heel is accused of DUI and reckless homicide following a September crash that killed 4-year-old Marco Shemwell near Kroger Field. Heel's attorneys asked the judge to allow the jury to visit the crash scene. Judge Lucy Van Meter granted that motion despite the prosecution's objection that there are photos and videos that more accurately depict the scene. Heel's trial is set to start on April 6th. A man has been arrested following a Powell County police chase. This is how it ended. Deputies say Foxy Feltner refused to stop for police. The chase went through Clay City and Stanton. Deputies say he nearly hit a couple of officers. It ended when Feltner crashed on the Mountain Parkway. Feltner's charges were not immediately clear. Well, the southbound lanes of Interstate 75 were closed for about 2 hours yesterday after a tractor trailer overturned. This happened near mile marker 46. That is north of London. We are not sure if the driver was injured or what led to the crash. Meanwhile, a crash here in Perry County closed a road for a brief time. Police tell us at least one person was flown out due to head injuries. No names were released. 2 cars were involved in the crash on Combs Road. Police have not told us what they believe led to the accident. Kentucky State Police are in charge of the investigation. We now know the name of a woman killed in a crash in eastern Kentucky in the middle of the week. It happened Wednesday afternoon in Perry County on Upper Second Creek Road. The Perry County coroner identified the victim as Joanne Plowman. State police tell us it appears Plowman was backing her Expedition in her driveway when the SUV went over an embankment and hit a tree.
Forecast this morning keeps those soggy conditions in play throughout much of the day. We'll see breaks at times today as the rain filters in and out, but right now a big chunk of the region seeing that rain. Temperatures in the 40s, even up, Somerset has went up a degree to, or a couple of degrees to 43 this morning. 43 to 48 is our range, so a very nice start to the day. Out the door forecast this morning, we're going to, temperature wise anyway, out the door forecast we are going to see temperatures climb into the 50s, but those rain chances return. Let's take a sneak peek ahead at the weekend. And you see rain and snow possible tomorrow. Not a great chance, scattered chances in the 30s, and then maybe some mix or some flurries early on Sunday, and temperatures near 40. Will?
All righty, Brendan, thank you. And thank you for joining us here on Mountain News this morning. Here's a look at what's ahead. Coming up, we take you to Powell County, where one community is concerned for their safety after the announcement of a treatment facility that could be coming to the area.